I'm Daniel Miller, and this is the Gaming News here on my channel. A warm welcome to all of our friends, fans, community members, participants, and everyone watching us on a variety of different platforms. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being our very dedicated community members. Today we have another gaming news session here on my channel. This is going to be for Tuesday, the 30th of April of 2024. So how's everybody doing? How are you guys? In here, in the suburbs, we are having a bit of a warmer day compared to the last couple of weeks, and a bit of a nice bright sunshine coming through my window, which indeed has been a true relief after several weeks of dreadful rain and really very cold weather. Here in the London suburbs, we had been unfortunately experiencing some sort of Siberian winter in our local area, and you know, it's been very, very cold, quite difficult to do certain things outside, and unexpectedly so after having a few weeks of very warm weather. So it's been really very, very challenging. But as I said, today, really all hunky-dory, nice and warm, bright sunshine outside, and I've not seen much of the day really, which is regrettable, but you know, I'll catch up later on. Anyway, today we'll crack on with whatever has come our way on the wire. And first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for participating yesterday, and in fact, a few more people were watching the stream and everything I had to say on video on demand through, I think it was either on, well, it was both on Twitch and on YouTube. And really thank several people for the email messages and comments and views. As you know, the channel had been reorganized of late, and I will be delivering different sections, which are going to be really kind of subject and theme based compared to the way I was doing it in the past. Previously, for all of you who were here with the channel from the beginning, you'll know that we had like a one lengthy stream, and within the stream we had both podcasting and community-based sessions, as well as the news and everything else, and of course what we like the best, live online gameplay. But in this instance I decided to I guess pursue a different direction, so we can have separate sections that are dedicated to a variety of different activities, and that will actually bring in different people at different times who are interested either in a particular subject or a certain kind of activity. And I think so far so good. It's been well received, and a couple of messages that came in yesterday indicated that people liked our slideshows and they enjoyed the content, and they were sort of looking forward to receive even greater level of interactivity. And I think generally we are likely to be seeing a lot of that as we carry on. And I just want to say, I guess the most important thing for everyone who's participating is to be kind of connecting on various platforms. So it's not just Twitch streams, it's also VOD or playback on YouTube, and there's social networking on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, all other platforms. And I really like to see people hopping in and doing some comments and providing us with some extra views. Not that much to do with myself personally, but more to do with the community out there, and people really want to kind of chat, discuss, engage really with what we do here on various topics. Some will be Destiny related, of course, as the Bungie Masterpiece is the backbone of the channel. But on the other hand, people also want to talk about other things, other games, other news, you know, other activities, and just feel free to do exactly that. To present us with some comments, views, thoughts, opinions, whatever they are. If you want to argue the toss, please do. I quite like hearing from people on the subjects where, in fact, we could have a strong disagreement. And, you know, some people like certain games, people disagree with certain statements, and that's all part and parcel of what I call here the gaming dialogue, which is part of our channel. And the channel's been also somewhat renamed. Previously I called it Daniel Miller Gaming, and then it's gone down the route of DLP Miller Gaming, and we have now the Gaming Dialogue as the main title. But you know, altogether it's part and parcel, the same sort of thing like what we had before. It's just it's delivered in a somewhat different format. So I mean, how's everybody doing? I'm feeling quite good today. I had a very good swim, and I feel really kind of, you know, refreshed, and really adhering to this new structure. And I've got to say, it has been a bit tricky and a bit burdensome to be spending so much time on the tech, something that I tried to avoid in our previous years, because really the streams have got to be as simple, as straightforward as possible, and what really matters is the quality content. But in order to change direction, I had to be adapting to the new system, and the new system, which I do have, but check the mic, yeah, is on my PC and my laptop. So, you know, a lot of stuff to be learned through OBS and the way the streams are done on computers. And I spent a lot of time really trying to adjust the audio levels. Had lots of problems with the mic and various other things. Anyway, everything hunky-dory, everything resolved, and the feedback I had yesterday from several members has been very, very positive, and I'm very grateful to everyone who indeed has been contributing and coming in yesterday to see how everything was going to unravel and whether it would work or not. Anyway, coming back to the contents, obviously this is our gaming news, and I need to tell you quite a bit about what's come on the wire. And first and foremost, what you need to know is there has been a continuous discussion about Stellar Blade. And as we said yesterday, quite a bit of controversy already after the first weekend about the sexualization of the main character, about her appearance, about the way customization could be done in the game, and I guess the emphasis on the elements of eroticism which would draw attention and therefore facilitate better sales. But at the same time, it has to be said that the controversy was indeed helping the sales as expected, and the company that developed the game denied this was the main target. But you never know really. At the end of the day, it's all open to a discussion, and we can all step in and debate like what we did yesterday. I had some news coming from the community, and we had a confirmation that Stellar Blade has had the third highest rated user score in PlayStation 5 history. So the other two games that have been rated higher are Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways and Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition. So in order to give you a better rundown of this, I'll look up several articles which are describing as to why this game is so popular. And we have an article on PlayStation Lifestyle which is saying that, you know, we had the game being played and streamed and basically rolling all the weekend with more than 1,000 ratings. And the question is, well, what's the reason for that? And the game's critic scores have been generally positive, getting an average of 82 to between 82 to 100, and it has generally, I guess, earned a sort of score which is bordering 9.1. So, you know, really a very, very good score for everyone, and definitely something that we should cherish, considering how big the game is and how much anticipation there was attached to the title. And we heard from Forbes that Stellar Blade's Metacritic user rating did surpass those of Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and God of War Ragnarok, which is a fantastic success. You know, Spider-Man 2 and God of War Ragnarok, some of the very best games that PlayStation had released, and are really top-notch PS exclusives. And at the moment, just like what we heard, it's currently sitting behind Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways DLC and Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition. But, you know, this could change with obviously other games coming in and more ratings that could be provided. Generally, you get lots of ratings within the first couple of weeks, but in the first weekend, as people step on the game, then, you know, they get in and try to provide feedback for everyone to enjoy and for everyone to be, I guess, guided by their opinions and views. So that's basically what happens. And on the other hand, we did hear that controversies are carrying on, and again, they're being attached not just to the marketing campaign, which was definitely zooming in on the lead character, but I've heard today that players are also requesting refunds because they say that the game was being sold under false advertisement claims. And I mean, just you know, false advertising claims is just a very weird type of request, but apparently it is taking place. And it says that there's some news coming on Insider Gaming telling us that the PS Store will seemingly issue the refunds, and they will be refunding those digital copies of Stellar Blade if the reason for that is for false advertisement, right? So false advertising. And we have seen some indication and some information posted on subreddit, which is indicating that refunds are being issued. So I'm not really sure whether this is fully confirmed. But over the weekend, we heard many players took to social media to, first of all, debate the game. Secondly, to, I guess, connect with other people's streams. And then thirdly, to complain about the apparent censorship. And the censorship issues or pictures did emerge on Twitter first. I did actually see a few of those. They didn't seem to be very significant. It's just like a very, minor, very small touches on the outfit. But actually, as the news was spreading, the indication was that some people were getting the uncensored version on the physical copy. So if you ordered the physical copy, you would get the proper uncensored version, and the digital copies had been sort of tampered with. In the meantime, you can actually see what the reason behind that is. Digital copies will be delivered at a point where you're purchasing them through the PlayStation Store directly, going to your console, and then physical copies would have been produced, in some months prior to the actual release. And I'm not sure this is exactly the truth of the matter. Somebody else needs to come forward and tell us whether this is exactly the case. Just bear with me a second. Yeah, so I'm not 100% sure whether this is as it stands, but the rumors and the news are being circulated through Twitter in particular. And I read that yesterday and I was sort of a bit astonished. I never heard of anything of the same sort before, but there we are. And the point of contention is a one-piece bathing suit, which in fact would be, I guess, exposing Eve's chest, and then in the latest version, it is covered a bit more, as well as hips. So, there has been such interest in the so-called, in inverted commas, censorship, that they already managed to generate a petition with nearly 50,000 signatures, which indeed were requesting a complete removal of so-called censorship. So, one way or the other, creating such controversy will generate interest, and generating interest will enable better sales. So it's no wonder that one of these hotly anticipated titles that indeed was being launched on PlayStation is attracting a lot of interest, even from the community, which is not at all connected to PlayStation or its own kind of gaming participants. People have seen pictures on Twitter, Reddit, social networks like Facebook, Discord, and they wanted to engage and connect. And anyone who has a PlayStation would want to be trying out to see whether this indeed is relevant or true to fact. So, really quite an interesting development as far as the game is concerned. But I've watched Mika's streams. I recommended Mika as one of the best RPG streamers on Twitch, one of my online colleagues, and I watched the streams quite a bit over the weekend. Really enjoyed the content. I thought the battles were really exciting, but for me visually, although I have not really gone into the game too much, the game is really combining the two, and that will be primarily the aura of Final Fantasy, and then you have Bayonetta, another game that had exactly the same auspices, albeit not criticized at the time for the same reason. So I have like two different things together, and you have these battles, and you have sword fights, and you have monsters. I throw in Silent Hill as well. Silent Hill for me is linked to the monsters. The monsters in the game have been created manually. So initially, the creator was building clay models, and these clay models were receiving full animation, and consequently they were being digitalized. And that is a method that has been used in animated films many years back, 100 years ago, and therefore the monsters look incredibly realistic, and they're very frightening. The design of the monsters for me reminds me of Silent Hill. So it's like 3 games in one, elements of horror game, elements of sort of big adventure stroke sci-fi fantasy world, and then you've got sword fight. So Bayonetta, Final Fantasy, and Silent Hill in one. And I think this should be really a fantastic compliment to the creators, because you have so many fans coming from all ends, and people who played PlayStation games over the years, certainly since the launch of Silent Hill 1 on the original PlayStation, and you will have this community just buzzing with energy. So, that's basically what I have seen on the net. I'm just going to see whether there's also some other discussion about basically the director did come back with the feedback indicating that the final costume the studio wanted to have in the first place, so that's the costume that you see on the digital copy that people purchased, and he said that he believed that that answer perhaps not going to satisfy everyone, and there is a kind of internal discussion ongoing. But eventually, if the game's released on PC, then you will have other mods coming in, and they'll be able to, do whatever they wanted. And it'll be interesting to see how the whole story of Stellar Blade and Eve really unravels. So, despite this sort of so-called controversy, which actually enables sales, it has been reported that it's selling extremely well. And Zuby Tech announced on Twitter indicating the early sales returns with the belief that the game would actually hit 1 million copies within the first 24 hours. So there's been no official confirmation, but considering how much hype had been generated through that controversy, it is very likely that we'll get many more people coming in with ideas and with interest and such purchases. So really, if you are one of the guys who is hammering Stellar Blade, and if you are experiencing any of these issues, or if you are having your opinions or views on how the lead character Eve looks like, then please make sure you send us a message or post us a tweet or communicate with us. Let us know really what your opinions and views really are. I just think that such games are very refreshing, and they're providing us with a different perspective. And also on the visual front, the game is just simply mouth-watering. Even if you don't like these sword fights, you can just explore the open world. You can look at the monsters. You can try to really get into the dark alleys or the caves, and there's plenty to do and plenty to see. It did appear that the story was also quite good, so one way or the other I can look forward to playing the game in due course. I honestly cannot have access to every single title. The new games are extremely expensive, and I tend to get lots of information from my friends, streamers and other gamers who are providing me with the tips and with some video footage, and then eventually I get on as the games are released on the streaming platforms. I got to say, somebody asked me the other day, what's the last game you bought? And I said I couldn't remember. And the reason for that is Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. You have more than 1,000 games at your fingertips at any given moment in time, with loads of blockbusters, loads of AAA titles, and on Xbox you have lots of indie ones as well, and therefore it's very easy to forget that the game sometimes can be or should be bought as well. Anyway, the idea is to be able to access games immediately, and I really appreciate those platforms tremendously, and I have been using both the Game Pass and PlayStation Plus from the day one. And talking of which, I just mentioned that both platforms, and particularly the Game Pass, do have a lot of indie titles on offer. We did mention yesterday that ID at Xbox was indeed providing us with a major presentation, and this was going through IGN. So the presentation was delivered yesterday. It was about 3 hours long, and very, very interesting as always, with many great titles on offer, and many small indie quirky games which are going to be arriving in the next 6 to 18 months. And I've got to say, I watched all the trailers and I watched most of the presentation, and I was just grabbed by the enthusiasm, the energy, the passion that every one of those developing studios actually have before the games are even presented or released. It's just extraordinary. And the games that perhaps are being made with less revenue, and the games that do not have the visuals and the appearance of the games like Stellar Blade, for instance, will be having very interesting gameplay and sometimes a phenomenally well-developed story. So really, I'm always surprised when I go in how enjoyable some of these games are. I played, for instance, last night Vampire, what I call the, it's not Vampire Chasers, come on, what is it? Bear with me a second. I just went blank. It's not Vampire Chasers, it's Vampire Survivors, and this is one of the favorite games of Phil Spencer. I played it last night again, and pleased to say I had been able to survive for longer than 10 minutes, which had been quite tricky. So that's one of those indie games that's been attracting huge acclaim and a lot of interest, and many people playing it. It's very, very simple. It's very basic, you know, on the visual front. Brings you back to the Atari and Commodores and the amusement arcades, and you know, the very, very basic type of graphics you'd see on Space Invaders. But the gameplay is absolutely amazing. It's captivating, it's adrenaline driven, and really thoroughly enjoyable. And then I played Pico Nico, the game that's going to be disappearing from the Game Pass within the next couple of days. And again, very, very simple, very basic platformer, very humorous, delightful animation, and terrific dialogue. Thoroughly enjoyable. Just to mention the two of those, I'll give you a lengthy list of the games I played recently, and also some of those which are still waiting for me to explore the worlds. All of them downloaded to my Xbox and PlayStation. It's quite a large selection. But talking about the independent games, I just want to say I'd like to ask everyone who's in our community to download many of those titles. And they're tiny. They'll be occupying, like, you know, less than 1 gig of your hard drive, and they're so enjoyable to play. But by downloading, you're supporting these studios. You are supporting, you know, the people who are working for literally no money, and just being driven by the enthusiasm, the energy, and their passion for what they do. And it's extremely important to be able to support them, because by supporting them, you are indeed then enabling such companies to evolve if they produce a successful game, and then later become a member of a much greater, bigger, grander organization, like, for instance, Xbox Games, or the Microsoft Game Studios. You know, become part of a major umbrella of studios that produce very interesting titles. And obviously, at that point, you're being given a lot more revenue for the development. So very important to do that. And anytime I get new titles on the Game Pass or PlayStation Plus, I always have a look. And it's so good to be able to access them on cloud as well with instant streams, because then you don't have to be downloading and waiting, etc., etc. You know, you want to get a flavor of the game, just go to that cloud and just have a look. You know, have a good flavor of what the game's like. As soon as you have really a good feeling about the game, even after 5 minutes, just make sure you download. Once you download, you are going to be added to the DL count of the people who are playing the game for the hard drive, and you are going to be enjoying a better quality picture and everything else. So that is absolutely critical. That is pivotal for anyone who wants to be supporting the communities, and you know, everyone who is interested in gaming needs to be doing that, because you are going to be making sure that certain studios grow, and they will then get greater revenue from the big cheese, and they'll progress to the degree, as we've seen with studios of the BioWare, Bethesda, you know, Ubisoft size. They all started small, but they just grew and produced amazing titles over the years. Well, what better time to talk about ID at the Xbox, but after describing some of those games I enjoyed during the last couple of days. Pico Nico is very enjoyable game, so highly recommend to everyone. And if you try Vampire Survivors, you know, for whatever reason I keep resorting to Chasers, Hunters. It's Vampire Survivors. They have also a new DLC coming up, and it is just a very, very thoroughly enjoyable game for everyone to play. If you played Space Invaders, that's going to be definitely your jazz, so make sure to step in and have a look. We've heard from several writers that they were quite excited about Nintendo Showcase, which was presenting a number of very interesting titles. A bit disappointed that Silksong was not part of that presentation, but they did have Laser Eyes, Little Kitty, and Big City. So, you know, there's been, I guess, a huge anticipation about the bigger showcase events in the course of the next few months, because during the summer is the time where the biggest titles are being introduced. We're all expecting Ubisoft presentations and Xbox and, you know, all else. And yesterday we've had ID at Xbox done through IGN, and loads of interesting titles. So just give you a rundown. Let me just have a look. I've got it all written down here. So it's about, I think, let me see. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 different titles that was that were presented to us yesterday, and certainly some of those definitely did catch my eye. So we'll start from the beginning. The first trailer you can see on ID at Xbox or through IGN is a trailer for a small game called Promise Mascot Agency, and I have to say I really loved it. That game combines the elements of Yakuza series with stuff which you'd see in Pikachu, you know, so it's just really beautifully designed and crafted. It's coming our way from Kaizen Gameworks, and these guys in the past were providing us also with a game called Paradise Killer, and you are going to be like a disgraced Yakuza member who is being sent up country to run basically a mascot agency, and mascots are really funny. So this simple premise will take a weird turn and become then completely surreal as you find out that these mascots are actually not friendly. They're quite dangerous and they can be weird and unsavory, doing weird stuff. And you have gutted fish, you have a block of tofu that does silly things, and you have also a giant savage toe. Well, I like the trailer. So if you go to ID at Xbox, all the trailers are displayed there, and you can also see some of them on my Twitter. I have a couple of articles published there. If you're interested in, you know, the full Monty, just head to my Twitter and have a look at the articles and trailers. I just talked about Vampire Survivors. This is a fantastic game, and they had developed, they just launched a major update, and they said it's the most ambitious free update yet. So you have various things introduced and changes to the gameplay. You have mine carts and doors which can be opening compared to the old, and then they call it the laboratory update. And also it will be providing you with new characters, weapons and stages. And you know what? It's out since yesterday. So if you were one of the guys hammering Vampire Survivors, step back in and make sure you engage with that update. Phil Spencer loves playing it. He talked about it on Xbox Podcast, and he's not the only one in the whole crew with Sarah Bond and Jeff Rubinstein. They're all in awe of the game, and you know, once you start playing it for about 20-30 minutes, you'll see why straight away. So we have another game that actually did catch my eye, and it seemed really weird because on the trailer there were some English words, and then there was, I think, Japanese, or maybe it was Japanese sounding, but I didn't understand much of it. So that really drew my attention, and the characters were hilarious, similar to those toifus and severed toes, you know, in the previous game. And the game's called All You Need Is Help, and it is coming from Pixel Junk Studios, and it features a gaggle of weird Detrominos. So they actually call them anthropomorphized. How should I pronounce that? Anthropomorphized Detrominos. So I didn't even know what that is. Anthropomorphized Detrominos. I'll do it again. Anthropomorphized Detrominos. So these are the characters you and your friends can use to solve puzzles and then overcome very tricky obstacles. So there's a funny song there in the trailer as well, but I think what really stands out is that name, Anthropomorphized Detrominos. Anthropomorphized Detrominos. I'm actually doing quite good. You can try the same. You can go to the trailer, go to my Twitter and have a look at the trailer. The game is All You Need Is Help. And if you think about the title, Anthropomorphized Detrominos, you need some help with the basic pronunciation of the title. So really weird. Definitely looks like an interesting game. Then we have an announcement related to the Dungeons of Hinterberg. And the Dungeons of Hinterberg is a beautiful game. In the trailer, you really get into the world that's, for me, is similar to what I've seen with Herman's graphic novels. I don't know whether you're familiar with Jeremiah, and he had quite a lengthy series in the 70s and the 80s of Jeremiah, and the graphics are sort of very alike, and definitely, you know, any major games that have graphic novel style illustrations and elements I definitely pay attention to, and this is definitely one of them. And it looks like quite sort of weirdly dark and scary, and albeit having a lot of bright colors, and the dungeons look really bright and colorful, and they look inviting. You know, you want to get into these dungeons and have them fully explored. You don't really see much of that in the trailer, I've got to say, so they're keeping it like under the wraps for everyone to step in and explore the abyss that will be always before you in that game. And well, they were talking about Mobius, and I agree, really. Herman and Mobius, probably the main references. I kind of swing towards Herman more than Mobius, but then again, maybe it's just myself, because I read more of his graphic novels, and I think many people will simply fall for that. It's quite unusual, and we have, well, I see more of that in Japanese games than the ones coming from the continent, you know. I find that some of the US-based games, they will swing towards Marvel style of graphic novels and some of the animations, but in Europe I had fewer indications of that sort, and it's great to see that the guys who made Dungeons of Hinterberg indeed swung towards Mobius and Herman, and you know, you're going to be just devouring those graphics, and it's going to be out shortly. It'll be out on 18th of July of 2024, and there will be also some betas, and I'll give you the dates later on. So coming back to this, Dungeons of Hinterberg will be out on July the 18th, and of course it will be on the Game Pass from day one. So then we have a game called The Rewinder, and I have seen the game yesterday. In fact, I played a bit of it, and it's a weird game. It really kind of brings you back to, I'm not sure whether it's ancient Japan or ancient China, and the legends of various characters and myths are very atmospheric, and the graphics are fairly basic, similar to Vampire Survivors, but it has a very, very good dialogue, and it really kind of draws you into the atmospheric nature of all the activities that you have there. And so if you're interested, The Rewinder, first of all, you can go to my Twitter and watch the trailer, and then if you're keen, just load your Game Pass and step in, crack on with the game. Centum seemed like a real bizarre, really kind of dark type of game, and it's the developer called Serenity Forge. So they did have some snippets of it earlier in the year. I think it was in spring. I did see bits and pieces coming from them, and it's a game where you're kind of trapped in a computer game, and they really sort of remind me of Papers, Please, and I guess, you know, yet again, a game that's going to draw attention through kind of mesmerizing puzzles and weird activities, but you know, you're being kind of arrested within a computer game, so you know, to be able to get out and find a solution. I don't know really what the game called Jackbox really is about, but the trailer is all telling you all that somebody is requesting a bit of an adult theme or adult undertones to what is being given, and you're getting an update, I guess. They said that this was like a popular trivia series, and the update is going to be a bit sort of a risky type, right? And it's very, I guess, mind-boggling, because you can see that they're bringing you a box which will open, and you do not see what's in it, you know? So it's the adult content is coming your way, but actually you need to purchase the game to find out what's in the box. And definitely a very interesting, very good marketing idea. And I mean, I was drawn to it, never heard of the game before, and I want to find out what's, well, stand correct, I did hear of the game, but I've not played it, right? And, you know, it just seems like a very, very good way to draw attention from so many different people in the gaming community, because you see this box, and the box is displayed everywhere on the trailers and also on screensavers, and you want to find out what's in the box. You'd imagine, go to the trailer, open the box and find out what's in it, but actually it is just giving you a bit of a teaser indicating that the Naughty Pack is going to be delivered to you once you purchase the game. I can't remember whether, let me see, do they have the date? No, they don't have the date. The game's going to come out at some point in the course of this year. Right, the game that I really liked and the promotion material was very, very appetizing. It's a game called Key Locker, and they advertise it as a turn-based cyberpunk action stroke sci-fi type of title, and rhythm JRPG as well. So that's plenty of different kinds of genres combined in one. But the trailer is incredible. It does have the elements of retro, Ataris and Commodores, but also it does have, from what I could gather, a very, very good narrative with lots of quirky, funny dialogue, interesting characters, and there's this singer who is being penalized by some external force for singing. So, somebody who's worked in the music community like myself in the old days, I'd be quite curious to see what the position of the singer is in this utopian cyberpunk world. And, a very, very good trailer. It gives you so many different clues, yet tells you nothing. And you really want to step in to find out what's going on in the game. So absolutely, for me, at the very top of my list, Key Locker, turn-based cyberpunk action game, coming out, I think, at some point this summer. It'll be released on Xbox and PC. They've not confirmed its inclusion on the Game Pass. Well, the game that everyone at Xbox has been talking about for quite some time is 33 Immortals. Are you familiar with this? Well, if not, just go to my Twitter and watch the trailer. The reason everyone's talking about this is that this game is actually allowing you to create a party that will have up to 33 participants, right? And it's a survival stroke horror game where you need to be surviving deadly assaults. So you will be able to play with as many people as you like, be it known or unknown, friends or foes, or people who you just come across through random matchmaking. But it is a game like no other, I think, and it's just full of terrible, terrifying, massive, big bosses, and that's the reason as to why you need so many people to defeat them. Otherwise, guess what? You're dying, and so your job is together with 32 other people to make it through these very dodgy, very difficult dungeons, and you need to preserve as many of your mates as possible. And in fact, it reminds me of State of Decay, because in State of Decay you play quite a selection of characters, and you've got to be able to survive the night. And if one of your characters dies, you carry on with another character, but you're obviously having a crew which is depleted. And I don't like that, really. I mean, I like playing such games. I told you yesterday I played The Quarry, and in the game I tried to make everyone survive the night, and I failed. Because only about 2 or 3 people survived. Everyone else died, and died a painful, brutal death. So as I completed The Quarry, I unlocked the mode where everyone can survive, and I will play that. I'm not sure whether you feel the same, but I don't want people to be hurt. I want them to kind of carry on and defeat the beasts, or detach themselves from evil ongoings and doings, and come out better and stronger, in the same way as I guess would like to see that in real life. But some of the developers are not allowing this. Anyway, you can try The Quarry. It's a great game, although the ending for me was not really tip-top for my liking. It just ended suddenly, and I didn't find out the explanation for all the cards which I had been collecting. Never mind, it's a separate game, and we are back to 33 Mortals. So this game, let me just see, 33 Mortals. Yeah, that's very important. I just remembered. You are going to be getting closed beta, so to register for the beta on the 24th of May. So that's in less than a month. 24th of May, you can register, and you can play directly through Xbox, I believe. Yeah. So make sure you subscribe, and I will do that. I'm really curious after playing Vampire Survivors how this is going to work. So I'm definitely signed up, and I'm definitely coming back to the title. It's 33 Mortals. Remember the title, and you are going to be doing it together in a co-op, or I should say in a very major multiplayer party that will have up to 33 participants. If you don't have as many, I think the bosses are going to be stronger than you. So for all of our Destiny veterans and people who like doing raids and defeating big beasts, remember that it's all about the number of the participants that are going to be brought in. Alright, so we have Palworld. Well, I had a look the other day. on Xbox channel, I think it was. Yeah, I was going through various browsing basically through different titles and trailers, and I discovered Palworld. It's on the Game Pass. How come I've not tried Palworld on Game Pass? It's a terrific game. It's kind of similar in its appearance to Fortnite, and you have lovable characters and plenty of action, massive big open world. I'm not sure, but I've not seen it, spotted it, or played it so far. I'm not sure. Well, I had been a bit under the weather with my health in recent months, and also with my dad's health, hence myself being absent from these forums now for more than 8 months. And that's probably when the game was launched. Correct me if I'm mistaken, just send me some news indicating when the game was launched and when it came to the Game Pass. I just missed it, and it's certainly at the top of my list. I really want to try it, and they are getting a major update this summer, which is going to be adding some new creatures, and you know, the trailer tells you that actually all of the characters can also burn. So they're not just cute, but they're flammable. They're incendiary, you know, so it's just amazing. So we have then, let me see. Hold on a minute, is that all? Bear with me, I just suddenly lost some of the information in here. Well, there are certainly some games that caught my attention even further, and I tell you, just bear with me, the game that I really like is coming from my favorite developer, and that developer is Don't Nod, right? They have really absolutely wonderful trailer. The trailer is mind-boggling, and I guess it is similar to what you had in Blair Witch Project, right? You've got somebody who's recording a video, recording a film, and then suddenly, right at the mates, the friends, the local environment, school, local pub, etc. And then suddenly at the end of the video, to tell you, like with a pop-up screen, say, if you find this videotape, that means I'm dead, and they start laughing, and then the whole trailer sort of ends abruptly. So you really want to see what is going on in this game, and you know, you really want to find out what the story is like. So just to put in perspective, Don't Nod is the company that worked on and released the Life is Strange series, one of the most popular games of that period on PlayStation, and they've been out already for I think almost 10 years. So this game has got all the flavors of the original Life is Strange series. Same sort of environment, lovable characters, the interactivity is exactly the same, the in-game mechanics, and there's this mystery. So it's very Twin Peaks-ish, you know, already from the trailer, and I'm really curious to see what that is going to be about. So we have then a game called Hungry, and that's like H-A rather than H-U. Again, an indie game that is drawing a lot of attention, seemed very interesting. Times and Galaxy, the game that is going to be released in June of 2024. There's been a bit of a developer insight given on Farah, the Sundred Tribes, and that's very similar to Horizon Zero Dawn. It's just done on a sort of microscopically minute scale, not with such a fantastically massive big open world and, you know, unbelievably jaw-dropping type of graphics. But it did have the same flavor of a big open world where this female character is going to be exploring, defeating different monsters and, you know, finding the way. And then you have Centum, which is going to be coming in summer of 2024. Astor, Blade of the Monolith, will come out on May the 30th of 2024, and I'm really curious about this game. It looks really so good on the trailer. If you are wondering what this Blade of the Monolith is going to be like, just go straight away to my Twitter. You'll get a trailer on it, and you will be able to connect with the developer and find out more. So coming back to this, we have some dates in here. You know, Dungeons of Hinterberg is going to be out on 18th of July of 24. All You Need Is Help will be out on fall of 2024. We have 33 Mortals, I mentioned, just closed beta on 24th of May of 24, and this is the game that you really want to try. We have Palworld in summer of 24, and then let me just see if there's anything else. yeah, we have actually 2 other games also introduced with trailers. Tales of Iron number 2, again very similar to some of the other retro-looking games coming out without any kind of indication when in the course of this year. And Sulphur is the game that actually has no date at all attached to its release, so we'll see when it comes out this year or maybe at some point early in 2025. So I think that's probably all the games that came out. Altogether, as I said, 20 of them. If I'm to be honest, I think for myself, the games that really attracted, I guess, myself and that drew my attention the most are certainly 33 Immortals, Palworld. Then we have, I forgot one game, just figured it. Commandos Origins. I don't know where you guys played Commandos in the old days. This game was absolutely massive in the 90s as a PC game, and this is going to be like a prelude, a predecessor to what we played already over the years. So definitely interesting. Gameplay teaser identical to what we've seen in the past on the PC title, and they're going to have a closed beta in summer of 2024. So they come July, August. That's going to be a bread and butter. Right, I think that's probably all. Like I said, these are the dates, and Vampire Survivors already has that update fully released. Jackbox at some point, summer 2024. And we have summer showcase preview for Stampede. And Stampede is a bit like the racing royale, battle royale type of games. And then you can drive and do silly things, and you have all the other teams that need to be eliminated before you kind of ultimately win. And they said this is going to be previewed during the summer showcase, and that's the Xbox Summer Showcase. And yeah, Times and Galaxy already mentioned June 2024, and I think at the end of the day, if I'm to be honest, Lost Records just grabbed me immediately, probably more than any other game I've seen. But we have Ferra in there, we have Dungeons of Hinterberg, Vampire Survivors, we have 33 Immortals. Well, more than half of those I shall be engaging with literally on day one. Right, so that's all about the idea of the Xbox, which I watched yesterday. Some of it I also watched today. And I want to ask you really whether you are also playing some of these games, or whether you are as interested as myself, and whether you are on some of the platforms that will provide you with this opportunity. Most important, the platform that gives you the biggest opportunity is Xbox Game Pass. So make sure that you subscribe to the Ultimate, and you'll get access to all these wonderful titles. Very many of these games are going to be released either on day one or in due course on the Microsoft streaming platform. So definitely, something you can keep in mind. And I really enjoy watching Idea Xbox every single year. They have several times a year presentations, which are shorter than the one we've seen yesterday. And have you watched the presentation that was going through IGN? You had lots of introductions and lots of in-the-know critics and writers from the video game industry providing their comments and views on the indie games. It's really fantastic to see that there's so much interest generated towards the games and developers that no one's ever heard of. And, face this interest, because great games will always be great games, irrespective of what revenue went into them. And many of those studios will become massively great, like Obsidian, like Bethesda, or like BioWare. So it's important to support the indie games in the same way as it's important to be supporting our charities. As you know, all of our streams here are supporting the Mind charity, a UK-based charity, and everyone who is watching, everyone who's interested in video games and the news and everything else needs to be contributing and needs to be donating in order to make sure that we can help those who are more vulnerable amongst us, and people who are experiencing some form of health issue or disability or anything else which is impairing the independence and everyday life. And by donating, we are preserving their abilities, we are helping them, and we are certainly making sure that we provide assistance that will be saving lives. And that's exactly what Mind, the UK-based charity, does for people who are experiencing mental health illness, mental health problems, and any form of psychological difficulty, as well as more serious illnesses where people are coming out of hospitals and then requiring counseling and additional assistance. So make sure that you have a look at the panels which are on my channel. Go to the About page and just click on that panel and you get the link that goes to Tiltify, and you will be able to help and support. Just remember that you're supporting everyone who is experiencing any form of mental health issue or psychological pressure. By doing so, you're helping them and you are saving lives by doing so. Right, so we have a bit more of the news. Just going back to my Twitter. If you're interested, just quickly go to my Twitter and you get lots of trailers which I've been describing, as well as some news on the entire event. So I've got all of them sorted for you. Go and have a look. And Dom the Bomb is the one who gave us the trailer on the trailer for Lost Records. And Lost Records, trailer is there for you to be seen. So just go to my Twitter, have a look, and enjoy the trailer. Really, for me, it is so appealing. I really want to play this game straight away. I'm a huge fan of Dontnod. I played Vampire, I played the entire series, Life is Strange, and what else? Pretty much everything they created. Also the game, I can't remember the title now. It's a game where you are climbing that they produced last year. Very, 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 very good. And also, I think graphically, falling into the category of Mobius. A bit like what I said about the indie game that was also presented yesterday during the showcase. So, it's a similar sort of thing. Anyway, the trailer for Lost Records is out there, and you can just easily access it. And as I said, very similar elements in the previous game to Dungeons of Hinterberg and Mobius style illustrations. And if you're interested, you have also some information on what will be coming to the Game Pass in the near future. And amongst the games that I described, we have, let me see, 2, 5, 10 of them that will come to Game Pass on day one. And I can certainly confirm, because I think somebody was just asking me a minute ago, what games will be coming out on day one. These games are Dungeons of Hinterberg, Depersonalization, Commando Origins, All You Need Is Help, Fireworks, I can see Fireworks and Humanity. These are not the games that indeed have been presented yesterday. I apologize. It's my error of judgment. So from those I described, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5. Well, maybe it's just the first step. Trying to bring people in early, telling them about these. But I'm quite certain that the vast majority will emerge through the streaming platform. And the ones they mention here are Dungeons of Hinterberg, Depersonalization, Commandos, All You Need Is Help, and Firework, Humanity, The Rewinder. The Rewinder is already up and running. And then you have Keplarth, 33 Mortals, and that's it. Really, these are the games that are indeed going to be accessible through the Game Pass on day one. Alright, so let's see what else we got here for us. Again, Astor Blade of the Monolith is on my Twitter, and that's probably the last of the idea of Xbox from me as far as the presentation is concerned. So I've talked a lot about it, but just again, I want to reiterate for anyone who's just joined us, remember, these indie developers, they don't have much money, they don't have major investors, but they work day and night, 24/7, with huge amount of energy and passion for their own titles, for their own projects, because they want their art to be seen by so many people around the world. So make sure that you connect with the art and with the games by either streaming or downloading the games through the streaming engines, right? The platforms. Game Pass in particular, and then some of those games are also on PlayStation Plus. Make sure you stream and download, because by doing so, you are indicating that you're interested in the works and in the quality of the art. And these games are incredible. I've not come across, I have to say, played very many, not maybe all, but very many on the Game Pass of the indie side, or on the indie side of things, and coming from Idea Xbox or any other indie companies. And I've not played one which was not at least very good. So it's absolutely scrutinized in order to get access, knowing that being on the Game Pass will bring them huge amount of exposure worldwide. It's very, very important, and I really, really want everyone who is in our community at least to try one or two of these games. Try Picunico, try Vampire Survivors, and try any of those once they are being released, and you will definitely, the game that I just mentioned that looks like Mobius, I keep forgetting the title, Dungeons of Hinterberg, right? If you like dungeons, if you like exploring, the dark corners, prisons, abysses, I don't know, the dark corners of the planet, well then definitely try that game, and it will be released on the Game Pass, and the adventures will begin on July the 18th, day one release on the Game Pass. Alright, so that's enough as far as the indie games are concerned. A very quick rundown on a few other things that we have here before us. Control 2 is the game that we are hotly anticipating. For anyone who is wondering what that game's about, Remedy made game. Remedy, the company that produced Alan Wake 2 and Alan Wake 1, and it is very, very good. You have both editions for the next gen and for the old gen consoles on both PlayStation and Xbox, and you can access the Ultimate Edition on the Game Pass. I played the game, loved it. I think it has a bit of a slow start, but once you get into it, that's just generally one of those elements of Remedy games. You kind of become fully immersed in the activities, you soak up the story, you start believing the characters, and then everything just unravels before you. So anyway, they will be entering the production readiness stage in Q2 of 2024. Right? So that means more or less imminently. That will be within the next couple of months. Not sure if this is a rumor, but it comes in on Screen Time. Then we heard that Fallout 4 PS5 Next Gen update is now unlocked for PS owners. Let me just quickly see whether that is up and running, whether that works. Been lots of complaints about some of the Next Gen updates, particularly for Fallout 76, which is understandable. Fallout 76 is similar to Destiny, but it's a multiplayer open world, and you know, they really are not that well known for multiplayer as Bethesda, let's face the facts. And then the service, and maybe having some problems, and the teams are working day and night to be able to resolve the issues. But I've got to say, I didn't try it myself yet on my Xbox Series S, but I have seen some videos that are comparing the old and the new, and the difference is significant. It's not massive compared to, let's say, Mass Effect, the game which has been created on the old gen, but the graphics are razor sharp, the colors are brighter, the picture is a bit more dense, you get more of that sort of opaque density, and you get high contrast levels. I think sometimes maybe some of these games look even too bright for my liking, but nevertheless I think it's a great improvement, and we look forward to the update. And I'll try it both on PlayStation, and actually I'll try it today. I have to download the game, because if you play it on the through PlayStation, through the streaming platform, you will not get the same sort of experience due to the internet speeds. And it's actually not my internet speed anymore. It's more like how many people are accessing the game through the PS service or whatever cloud services are being provided for them. And if the game is very popular, and inevitably, considering the series, Fallout 76 is very, very popular at the moment, there is going to be a serious problem. And that is exactly what I have been experiencing a few times when I've gone in. Alrighty, so just bear with me a second. I need to double check two things before I give you more information on this. And yeah, there's been some confusion last week about Fallout 4 and the upgrade. So everybody wanted everything straight away in view of the wonderful adaptation that is being given to us on Amazon Prime Video. The whole series, the first season, is indeed at your fingertips, and you can just click and watch every single episode at any time. And then also people heard that the updates and upgrades will indeed be available through PlayStation and PS Plus Extra or Premium, and they'll be offered for free. So the small update, small patch was being released over the weekend, and apparently people are saying today that it is working compared to the old, and it is going to be giving you the razor sharp graphics and top-notch audio quality. So that's actually good news. And they also said that for anybody who's been acquiring Fallout 4 through PS Plus Collection, the only ones who will not qualify for they're the only ones who will not qualify for the upgrade. You know that there have been changes to do with the systems that PlayStation 3 was using, and there's been a lot of dissatisfaction also voiced about that in the past. But anyways, I think it will all work, and I need to download and try it. Anyway, if you are a Fallout 4 fan, you already would have gone there. We have also the new episode of Digital Foundry, and it's been very, very eagerly anticipated. This particular episode is giving you a rundown on, first of all, a very rocky launch of Fallout 4's next-gen upgrade. So just like I said a couple of moments ago, it had lots of problems, but fortunately it appears that some of those have been resolved. Then they'll be talking about Avatar, the game, at 40 FPS, and also they'll be talking about the performance improvements for Lords of the Fallen, and also about a couple of other games like Paper Mario on Switch, and a lot more. I really have to tell you, Digital Foundry is a podcast that everybody from the industry, the top dogs like Todd Howard and Phil Spencer, listen to every single week. And because it's just providing you with in-the-know information about how the games are received, and coming from the people who are really your tech geeks, people know everything about the tech side of things. So they combine the experience of gaming with the knowledge of the tech. So I really highly recommend it. The new episode is out, and in this one they talk about all these issues which I just mentioned. So then we have some information on Fallout series. It's already been generating more than 65 million viewers in its first 16 days, which in fact is astonishing. It's probably the most successful series that Amazon had ever released, and everyone's just completely blown away by the interest. And I have to say, Bethesda were very surprised when they realized that the show was generating so much interest for the sales of the old titles, like Fallout 3, Fallout 1 and 2, and Fallout 4, Fallout 76. In addition to the fact that they were offering lots of those free of charge to the members of certain platforms. I acquired several now for free on Epic and on Xbox and on PlayStation, in fact. So, just interesting to note that on one hand, people purchasing in a very large quantity, on the other, some of us were able to get it for free. But nevertheless, people do want to have the full content, and they'll go down the route of purchasing the Ultimate Editions, or, Game of the Year types of titles, and then that is what is bringing additional interest in. So incredible, 65 million viewers in the first 16 days of availability. I'm just curious to see what Variety had said about this. Let me just quickly have a look. Bear with me. Variety had given it 10 out of 10, I think. Well, they said it's proved to be far from a nuclear bomb for Amazon Prime Video. And so like I said, 65 million viewers, and that makes the second most watched title ever on the platform, and the most watched title since the debut on the Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, back in 2022. You could see how both titles, Fallout and Lord of the Rings, they have links with the previous, just bear with me a second, with the previous format, be it in the form of book, animated film, or indeed the format of a video game. And that is what is highly significant in terms of that interest being generated. So they said that the game, the show, is its most watched ever amongst young adults, and that's people aged 18 to 34, with 60% of the show's audience coming from outside the US, in particular the UK, France and Brazil. All these countries turn out to be proper hubs for the show's popularity. And Amazon has not released any data on how they actually count the viewers, and especially when it comes to completion of the show. But 65 million is certainly a very, very large number of participants, and they already renewed Fallout for Season 2, and it's going to be based again on the video game franchise of the same name. It's set 200 years after the apocalypse, and they say that the gentle approaches of luxury with Fallout shelters that are forced to return to the irradiated hellscape their ancestors left behind, and a shock to discover an incredibly complex, gleefully weird and highly violent universe waiting for them. As you know, if you played Fallout games, of course it is absolutely weird and deadly. Let's see what else we've got. A couple of bits of news still left. It's been quite a lot, really. I mean, really, Stellar Blade and Idea of Xbox had taken up all of the attention from our gaming community. So let me see. We have, oh yeah, that's very big news coming out of Remedy as well. Max Payne 1 and 2 remake is about to enter full production, and that probably is one of those games that I shall be most eagerly waiting for. I loved Max Payne games. I played them all on PlayStation initially, and just can't wait to see what the overall remake is going to be like. And Remedy, after the success of Alan Wake, which had sold, Alan Wake 2 I should say, which had sold in very great numbers, is having a huge success worldwide. And as you could see, several projects are being developed at once, like for instance Control 2 and Max Payne remake. So really absolutely astonishing. They will be probably growing to the level that we see with BioWare and Bethesda in no time. Again, it was a very small studio in the old days. Sam Lake, the founding member, was, I think, initially a one-man band. But there you are. Have you watched him with the presentation during the Game Awards when he danced with all the dancers and singers? And it was just absolutely incredible. It's incredible to see somebody who's so multi-talented in all sorts of ways, from being a singer to musician to writer to game creator, game director, screener. It's just extraordinary. But that should be really giving an example on what you can do if you have lots of talents. You know, just make sure you invest all of your energy into them and, you know, use them. Make sure that they're being put in full practice. They provide then something for the world, and I think he's a very good example of somebody who's multi-talented and who's constantly investing his talents into various activities, and obviously doing them to his own satisfaction and providing the content and the produce which is of very high quality. Right, so we heard also about Starfield. Let me just see very quickly. We've heard about the new update, and that update will be coming our way fairly shortly. And I'm just wondering what date that is. I had it written here, but it just escapes me at the moment. Losing the information. There you are. We can't keep everything in our head, you know. It's really difficult. Yeah, summertime. I think it's in July. Well, let's see what Paul Tassi says about that. We talked about his article yesterday when he described the controversy surrounding Stellar Blade. And so there's been a lot of talk about Bethesda, he says, and their priorities lately, due to resurgence of the interest in Fallout in view of the Amazon show. So you have a big update for Fallout 4, and then so many people were wondering why a new Fallout game has been placed on the back burner. And so he concludes that the main reason for that, more than anything else, is Starfield, the game that the company had worked on for quite some time, and that's a brand new IP that Bethesda developed and really pushed both Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 a few years back, I think, just because you know, the game required a lot of attention, massive big development cycles. So Bethesda did say that they wanted Starfield to be played for many years, but on the other hand, lots of gamers felt that this was not going to happen in view of the way the game was indeed built and the way it developed really before us once released. So now we're all waiting for that update and that new DLC. And so the question is, how long is it going to take for that to be made, and when is it going to come our way? So the game's been launched, I'm trying to think, was in September 23, so what's that, 8 months, 7-8 months, right? And there've been hardly any major updates. They were doing certain things with in-game activities, but it was nothing like an extra DLC or extra content given to us. And you know, so the question is when the new DLC is going to come our way. So they confirmed a number of updates, and they will include city maps and new means of travel, and then there will be some land vehicles. And I think land vehicles would be incredibly fundamentally important to the exploration of the universe. I find it incredibly frustrating, particularly when I had to be scanning certain items, having the need to be traveling all the time on foot and it was taking up an enormous amount of time. Just to put in perspective, I played Starfield for about 120, 130 hours, and came towards the end of the game with the major campaign. The difficulty for me was aerial battles. I don't know whether I've done something wrong with my ship or whether I've not customized it properly, but it was just really difficult and causing me lots of problems. So I've not completed the final mission due to that, and I have to come back to it. I've not actually touched Starfield now for maybe 4 or 5 months, but I'm definitely very excited about what is to follow, and I found the game to be generally well developed, with a good narrative. I enjoyed the story, plenty of activities. There were some elements I did not enjoy, and that was particularly with the in-game mechanics. For instance, the scanning for me didn't work because you have to follow a signal that keeps coming from some sort of gadget that they have on you, and it was impossible for me to find out when this signal is going to be heard. To keep walking and walking, looking for these items and getting nowhere. I think one of the updates that they launched had fixed the bug or the problem that I was experiencing on Xbox, but that was the kind of thing that really didn't make me feel very happy. And then the other thing was a couple of side missions didn't seem to be so closely connected to the campaign, which I think is different to what we've seen with some other games. You know, they're really masters in storytelling and you want everything to fall into place. What I did like was a massive big open world, lots of places to explore, fantastic customization abilities, you know, on everything, inclusive of your ship and the characters. And yeah, it's thoroughly enjoyable for anyone who's a geek who wants to be having their own equipment, their own gear, their own armor, the special powers applied to spaceships and vehicles. You will have all of that in Starfield. So let me see whether he indicated a date. They said the player can't be given current levels for the last 4 Fallout games have quite a lot more than Starfield. So that's like 7,700 players on Steam this week, and it's Xbox's 39th most played game, still behind 2011 Skyrim. So, you know, it's a single player game, but I think anyone who was participating in the worlds of Elder Scrolls or Fallout will know that those worlds are incredibly big and there are so many different things to do, and you know, it doesn't have the element which we would be getting from some of the other multiplayer games. Maybe in the future these elements will be added on, I don't know, but I find generally those games to be thoroughly enjoyable, and we always come back to them. So Paul is wondering about Microsoft and what they have to say about all this, and why is it that more resources are being devoted to Starfield than to any other title. And the Shattered Space expansion is incredibly important because it will be given to us for free, and it will be also given to us on the Game Pass for free, I should say. So principally, generally the expansions are offered on the price which varies from like $20 to $40. But I think, considering that Bethesda is now part of the Xbox Studios family, or the family of Xbox developers, that it's very likely that we'll get the full content on the Game Pass. But that's not the case with all games. You know, I, for instance, played the Outer Worlds, and I was not able to access add-on and DLC on the Game Pass. I was being driven to further purchases. Okay. A lot of dissatisfaction about Escape from Tarkov. As we've heard, they had one of those absolutely abysmal, catastrophic weeks, and the reason for that is simple. They had some news coming from the studio indicating that people who were purchasing tip-top, very expensive special editions, and these were offered on the price of between $150 to $50, you know, they'd be losing the offer. The offer was that the entire DLC and everything, whatever the developer was going to be reducing, is going to be offered free of charge, and that turned out to be not the case. So, you know, extra benefits didn't sit well with many owners of the existing top-tier 150 Edge of Darkness edition, and that version has been available for players to buy into the closed beta since August 2016, and for its considerable price, it promised access to every future DLC coming to the game. So, you know, the argument coming from content creators and angry fans is that this PvE version of the game is a new DLC and therefore should be handed out to the owners of this edition for free. So, well, it seems to me that they will have to cave in, otherwise the company will be going bust. Everybody will want to have their refunds. And a few more bits. We heard about Starfield and Todd Howard, and he talked quite a bit about Baldur's Gate and the success of the game within the gaming community. And I just want to draw your attention to my screenshots from my gameplay. I had posted quite a number on my Twitter, and I had played Baldur's Gate yesterday, the day before, on the trial version, which I managed to get on PlayStation Plus Premium. Really amazed by the quality, by its graphics, you know, immersive elements of the open world, and everything in it, plus the cutscenes, the dialogue, the characters you come across, the narrative. It's just an astonishing masterpiece in every way imaginable. I've not played the full game, but you get the flavor even after playing it for about, you know, a couple of hours. And I had published quite a few of the screenshots which are from the beginning of the game, so just, you know, go and have a look. And still a game that many people are streaming, and people are very, very happy and elated with the entire content. So Todd Howard was asked about Baldur's Gate, and I guess there were some questions comparing it to Bethesda series, particularly Elder Scrolls. And Todd Howard is certainly one of those great admirers of Larian Studios as well as the series. And when he was being asked about Baldur's Gate 3's success during an interview for Kind of Funny, he said that the folks at Larian definitely deserve it. It's a fantastic studio, and they've done great work for a long time. He said, I think there's some people in the industry who look at Larian and say, well, look at this overnight success. And he said that's complete nonsense, and just asked everyone, have you played the previous games? And they did a tremendous job. It's just a kind of a long-term evolution which was happening at the studio, and a lot of thought and effort and human resources and investment went into the game. Obviously, they won literally every single award that you can be getting in the course of the last 12 months, and the game that absolutely stands up to everything. And he said, obviously, in what they delivered as a product, and also who they are as a studio, meaning, you know, a tremendous workforce with fantastic quality titles, and how they go about the work, how they talk about it. He said, I really think this is completely fantastic. And the question was there about whether there's going to be some influence of the game Baldur's Gate 3 on some future Bethesda titles, and Howard wouldn't really get drawn to that, and he said, we look at all games, and I didn't want to pinpoint particularly that one. We are just big gamers, play games from any studio, and we all see things in all games where we'd say, you know, that's actually a better way of doing something that we are trying to do. Well, it's a very good acknowledgement that some people can actually do it better than you. He also said, I don't want to call out specifics right now, but I'd say that just across the gaming spectrum, we are engaging with games and things we like. You can sort of see that filter into the games we have in development and patches of things that we are doing to our own games. So basically constantly watching out for what is being offered elsewhere and making sure that you are really up to scratch. Well, I think if I'm to be honest, it'd be very hard for me to say what title I like the best from everything they produced, but certainly Elder Scrolls and Fallout as a series stand out massively. And Starfield is still at its very beginning. I think lots of people forget that Skyrim had some serious problems initially, although the game was really greatly admired, and it'll take a bit of time for Bethesda to sort of get the house in order and to sort out the issues that are still present in the game. And I just found the world there to be amazing. The only problem I have, maybe as a dedicated long-term Mass Effect fan, is, I guess, with the intention to create a world that resembles Mass Effect but delivers a different sort of gameplay. You do have definitely the experience of traveling between different planets and exploring different activities and collecting minerals. All of that is very, very similar. Yet the story is different, the characters are different, and the way you play the game is very similar to what you had in Skyrim and Fallout. So really, it's a bit like Skyrim and Fallout in space. That's what Starfield is about. And I had no problems with the tech side of things from the beginning. It all worked perfectly on my Xbox, and thoroughly enjoyed everything that I've played so far. As I said, about 130 hours spent on Starfield, which is, I'd say, a serious quantity of my time. But there've been other games like Mass Effect that was spent, God knows how many hours, and then Destiny as we know it. So you dedicate your time to the games that really capture you, the games that kind of draw you into the activities, the characters, the narrative, the environment, and everything they offer. And then you spend your time there. I'm quite brutal when I don't like the game, and I have, there've been some so-called great titles I really intensely disliked, didn't want to play them. For instance, The Evil Within is a game that apparently has, good rankings, but it's the brutality of the game that really puts me off straight away. Just an example. Also Bethesda title, Right, so let's see if I've got anything else for you. The big news today, which we all know as Destiny veterans, is Pantheon. We have the update coming our way at 5 o'clock PM, so that's literally less than 90 minutes away from us. And after the update, and after the system reset, we are going to be entering this new arena for the first time, which is going to be very challenging. We've heard from Bungie that should be, or will be, one of the most densely packed activities ever created in this Destiny universe, and I can't wait to try it, really. I don't think I'll be able to do it tonight with the community, but we are definitely going to be hammering it tomorrow as much as possible. New activity will start out early, and then we'll have plenty of fun with everyone who wants to join us. So just make sure, if you're listening, to request access to my Destiny stream tomorrow, so we have like a waiting list or so, because sometimes I get like 10-15 people who want to come in, and more so for Destiny 1 than Destiny 2, but then I want to give everyone a fair share, which is usually about 45 to 60 minutes of participation. The stream is 5 hours long. It's only allowing maybe 12 people to come in, so it depends on who wants to be joining us, and I think it's worth considering that this is a new activity and everybody will want to be doing it as quickly, as swiftly, and as hotly as possible. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. So remember that. Make sure you get your updates sorted. It's today at 5 o'clock. We're getting the reset, and then we are going to be able to crack on with all of that Destiny activity and enjoy the, I guess, the prelude to what's to follow. And what is to follow is going to be definitely very, very busy and hectic. From what I could gather, it's a mixture of escalation protocol and dungeons that will require major team effort in order for that to be completed. So really, really quite curious and quite interested to see how this would all work, and thoroughly enjoyed Into the Light and all the activities that came together with it. I'm very excited about the final shape and all we've heard. Yesterday we spent the whole session in my podcast debating the ins and outs of the changes. I guess I'm in two minds about some of them, but we'll see how this works on the group level and how this is going to be shared and also respected and embraced by the rest of the community. So if you're interested, just go back to the podcast from yesterday, have a look at all we talked about and all the changes which I've given you that I received from Bungie, and there are quite a few. There's going to be quite a few changes to the way you actually play the game, how we raise the bar for our power level, for the light level, how we are progressing forward, how we are getting some rewards, how the rewards are going to be customizable, etc, etc. Plus, very importantly, you need to remember, we are going to be having a new format of Destiny 2. No longer are we sustaining or enjoying the 3-month, 4-month long seasons, but we are now going to be having episodes given to us every single month. So I'm not sure exactly how this will work. They talked about similarity with the games like The Walking Dead, but I can't really see it within the Destiny environment functioning in the same way. And I want to see what every episode will bring to us, what types of activities and what type of system we are going to be enjoying. So, one way or the other, that is the near future. Okay, I think that's all for today as far as the gaming news is concerned. As you can see, it's loads of news today. And I had a lot to tell you about the indie Indie at Xbox, ID at Xbox, and all the titles that we are going to be getting soon. So if you're interested in any of those, just make sure you subscribe to the Ultimate. I'm not advertising the Ultimate subscription of the Game Pass in any way. I just have no any form of monetary or emotional or any other business or personal interest in mentioning it. But I just think that the platform is amazing. I never thought that the trillion-dollar company like Microsoft would be so interested in supporting such small studios and providing them with a platform that is giving them huge exposure worldwide and helping the new talent. I worked with a lot of new talent over the years, and the talent perhaps sometimes which was not fully flourished, and I had to help it and enable it. Talent that had to be having a stepping stone given, in order to progress forward, or people who never recognized the talents but actually had quite a few. And I always want to support the talent. I always want to support young people who are wanting to progress forward, and people who want to give something of themselves to the world. That's what's most important. Being an artist, being a creator is like, for instance, with live streams. You're giving a part of yourself to the world, and it is fundamental that for those people who are brave enough to do it, we provide adequate support. Right, so we come to the end. And right at the end, I need to tell you that we are supporting our charity in Britain, which is called Mind. I should say the Mind Charity UK. And we want to provide as much support as possible. This is a charity that helps people who are experiencing mental health issues or any form of psychological difficulty, anyone who's been in hospital or suffered mental breakdown or required assistance in terms of mental health counselling. They provide all of that. They're based in our local communities and lots of branches and offices countrywide. Almost in every bigger town or city, there is one Mind office, and they provide the services free of charge. So, it's absolutely fundamental that we support the work and the services, and that we become aware of the fact that by supporting and donating, we are also helping those who are suffering, people who are needing that degree of support the most, and therefore we are saving lives. So just have a look at the panels on my About page, click on them, you will get Tiltify links, and then you can donate. And then please donate generously, because every shillings or pence donated will go directly to Mind, and therefore will help them to develop the services, and therefore they will be helping the process to which the lives are saved. So remember that. Subscribe, support, donate, and therefore help our charities. I'll read this again. Subscribe, support, donate, and help our charities. So thanks very much for listening. It's been great having everyone on board. It's been great being here today. Hope you enjoyed the news. Hope you find some of the titles of interest. I'll carry on with the rest of my stream as we conclude. But on that note, I shall wish you all a very good afternoon and see you later.